Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Kini News. Selangor, Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya will be placed under the Conditional Movement Control Order or CMCO effective midnight on this Wednesday, October 14th.
A Conditional Movement Control Order will be imposed in Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya and Selangor from the 14th of October. This was announced by Senior Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob in his daily briefing today.
Bagi menyekat penularan virus ini dari terus merebak ke daerah-daerah lain, maka sidang khas MKN hari ini bersetuju untuk melaksanakan PKPB ataupun Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan Bersyarat di seluruh Selangor, wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur dan Putrajaya berkuat kuasa pada jam 12 malam 14 Oktober hingga 27 Oktober 2020.
Under the CMCO, schools, daycare centers, places of worship, parks, and recreational centers will be closed. Sporting activities, social activities, weddings are prohibited, and entertainment outlets and nightclubs will not be allowed to operate. And only 2 people will be allowed to leave the house to buy groceries. Ismail Sabri added that inter-district travel will be banned and will only be allowed for work purposes, with proper identification and documentation issued by employers. He added that all economic activities in Selangor, KL and Putrajaya are allowed to operate as usual, but they must follow the SOPs. Apart from this, Ismail Sabri also said that the government will impose the CMCO on the entire state of Sabah instead of just several areas. He said the decision was made following the rise of COVID-19 infections in the state.
Malaysia has reported 563 new COVID-19 cases, with Sabah still recording the highest number of cases in the country.
Malaysia reported 563 new COVID-19 cases today. Health Ministry Director General Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said that out of these, 562 were local cases, and 1 was an imported case, which brought the total number of confirmed cases to 16,220. The imported case involved a Malaysian returning from Indonesia. Meanwhile, out of the local transmissions, Sabah recorded the highest number of cases with 291 cases. Penang also recorded a surge in new cases with 141 infections, all from the Penang Remand Prison cluster. There were 69 new cases detected in Selangor and 28 in Kuala Lumpur. Dr. Noor Hisham said that since September 20th, there are 363 cases involving travellers returning from Sabah. Today, there was another 10 new cases in Peninsular Malaysia among travellers returning from the state. There were also 6 new clusters reported, 2 in KL and 1 each in Sabah, Selangor, Johor and Putrajaya. Dr. Noor Hisham also announced that 2 more people have died from COVID-19, bringing the death toll to 159. He added that there were 98 patients in the intensive care unit, with 29 requiring ventilators.
The police have summoned PKR President Anwar Ibrahim for questioning over a list that surfaced of 121 MPs who allegedly back him to become the Prime Minister.
Police have summoned PKR President Anwar Ibrahim over an alleged list of 121 MPs backing him to become Prime Minister. An investigation has been initiated under Section 505B of the Penal Code over the spread of rumours that can cause fear and alarm to the public, which could induce a person to commit an offence against the state or to public peace. Several UMNO lawmakers, including Arau MP Shahidan Kasim and Besut MP Idris Jusoh, have lodged police reports to deny their involvement in Anwar's counter-coup after their names appeared on the purported list. According to Federal CID Director Huzair Mohammed, police have received 6 reports over the matter. He said Anwar had been summoned for questioning at 11 a.m. this morning, but his private secretary said the opposition leader would only be available at 9 a.m. tomorrow. As such, the interview has been rescheduled for a later date to be disclosed later. He added that the police will not hesitate to take action against those who spread news that is fake and confuses the public. Last month, the PKR president had announced that he had secured enough numbers to form a new government. He is scheduled to meet the Yang di-Pertuan Agong on the matter tomorrow. However, various quarters, including UMNO lawmakers, have disputed the claim that Anwar possesses sufficient support to be the next Prime Minister. Meanwhile, PKR has instructed its members not to hold gatherings or to gather at any location, especially along major road towards Istana Negara tomorrow. In a brief media statement this afternoon, PKR Secretary General Saifuddin Nasution Ismail also called on all Malaysians to keep calm as the audience session takes place and to remain calm for any subsequent processes that take place after that.
Former Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad hit out at the Perikatan National Government in a blog post today and sarcastically reminded them of their promises made during the Sabah state election.
Former Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has prodded his rival Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin to keep his word and hold snap elections soon and accept the dire consequences that will follow. Without naming names, Mahathir in a blog post cited Muhyiddin's previous remarks that a general election would be held soon if Gabungan Rakyat Sabah won last month's state election. He wrote that the top leadership said if they win in Sabah, there will be a general election. He sarcastically told the PN government to, quote, "Keep your word and hold the GE. Let hundreds of thousands get infected. Let more people die. Politics is more important than principle." Last month, Muhyiddin had said that if GRS, which consists of Perikatan Nasional, BN and PBS win in Sabah, then he would hurry up and hold the snap election. GRS won the election with 38 seats in the State Assembly. Mahathir added that the election shouldn't have been called, and it came at a high cost not only in terms of money, but also for the COVID-19 infections which has spread from Sabah to the peninsula. The Sabah election, which was triggered after a political coup attempt by PN and BN, has been blamed for worsening the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Several politicians who campaigned in the Sabah election were infected with COVID-19. As of October 8th, there have been 283 cases of COVID-19 linked to travel to Sabah since September 20th, including from non-politicians.
Still to come after the break, COVID-19 infections and death tolls are rising in several countries. Security forces arrested dozens at a protest in Belarus. All that and more after this. Welcome back. India has reported over 1 million COVID-19 cases in just 13 days, according to a Reuters tally, taking its coronavirus caseload to over 7 million on Sunday.
India's coronavirus caseload topped 7 million on Sunday, when the Health Ministry reported 74,383 new infections in the previous 24 hours. A rise in infections in southern states offset a drop in cases in western regions. Deaths from COVID-19 rose by 918 in the last 24 hours to 108,334, the ministry said. According to a Reuters tally of government data, India added 1 million cases in just 13 days, and it has the second highest number of infections behind the United States, which is approaching the 8 million mark. The southern state of Kerala, which won praise for its early handling of the coronavirus pandemic, on Saturday reported 11,755 new cases, the highest in the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government, faced with a collapsing economy after imposing a tough lockdown to try to stem the spread of the virus in late March, is pushing ahead with a full opening of the country just before the festival season. But the season, which climaxes in October and November, poses additional challenges. Officials are trying to dampen the usual large public celebrations and cross-country travel. A few states, such as Maharashtra and Gujarat in the west, have put restrictions on gathering during the 9-day Navratri festival, due to begin on October 17. India's health minister told his social media followers in a broadcast on Sunday that festival season is approaching, and a little carelessness of people during festivals could worsen the situation.
Several countries in Europe have tightened their COVID-19 restrictions as they face a surge in cases.
Several countries in Europe, including the United Kingdom, Spain, and France, have tightened their COVID-19 prevention and control measures on Sunday in the hope of avoiding large-scale lockdowns that have heavily impacted their economic recovery. Another 12,872 people in Britain have tested positive for COVID-19 during the past 24 hours, bringing the total number of coronavirus cases in the country to 603,716, according to official figures released on Sunday. The coronavirus-related deaths rose by 65 to 42,825, the latest data showed. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said he will again go to Parliament and the country to ask for support for a new approach to stem the spread. He is expected to set out a new system of local COVID alert levels of medium, high or very high, aimed at helping tailor restrictions for different parts of England. In Spain, the regions of Catalonia and Navarre announced new restrictions on working and public gatherings after worrying rises in COVID-19 cases. Catalonia's Public Health Authority urged local companies to encourage their employees to work from home for the next 15 days and asked universities to switch to online teaching. Authorities in Navarre said gatherings will be limited to 6 people from Tuesday. Bars and restaurants will be closed at 10 p.m. and capacity will be limited at 30% of normal levels. Visitor flows in public places such as theatre, libraries, and supermarket will also be limited. Meanwhile, in France, the number of new coronavirus infections was at 16,101 in the last 24 hours, Health Ministry data showed on Sunday. The number of deaths from the virus increased by 46 to 32,730. A total of 12 cities or regions in France are on the highest alert for COVID-19. The French government announced that a health emergency will be declared in the maximum alert areas if the epidemic further worsens.
Television footage shows security forces in Belarus detaining dozens of protesters on Sunday by using force including water cannons and batons to break up crowds demanding a new presidential election.
Footage published by local news outlets in Belarus showed police officers wearing black balaclavas, dragging protesters into unmarked vans and beating them with their batons at a rally that drew thousands onto the street of Minsk, the capital. One video showed a police van unleashing a powerful jet of water from a cannon into the crowds, pushing them back. Police said they had detained several dozen people. Belarus, a former Soviet republic closely allied with Russia, has been rocked by street protests and strikes since authorities announced that veteran leader Alexander Lukashenko had won an August 9 vote by a landslide. People have since taken to the streets every week to demand that Lukashenko step down and allow for a new election to be held. Lukashenko, a former collective farm manager who has been in power since 1994, denies his win was the result of cheating. Security forces have detained more than 13,000 people during a post-election crackdown, some of whom have been later freed. Lukashenko's key political opponents are either in jail or have fled abroad. The violence on Sunday followed a meeting Lukashenko held in a Minsk jail with detained opposition leaders, an unusual event that prompted some opposition activists to believe he was preparing to make concessions.
And that's all we have time for. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and also Facebook for the latest news updates. Once again, to all our viewers in Sabah, your statewide CMCO commences tonight at midnight, while for our viewers in Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, and Putrajaya, our CMCO begins tomorrow at midnight. Remember to wear a mask when you're going out, wash your hands regularly, and above all, practice social distancing. We got this together, and we'll get through this together. I'm Daniel Anthony. Thank you for watching, and stay safe, Malaysia.